So a couple of years before the Wright Brothers centennial of flight, I was working on the Icarus monument to a century of flight, and I got my staff together and said, what is the Outer Banks going to do for all of 2003? So my staff and I talked about doing a community-wide public art installation. And with a nod to the Mermaids on Parade in Norfolk, we decided on fiberglass winged horses. And the rest is history.
So you may be wondering why the town of Duck has a horse in our shed and why there is a woman painting this horse behind me. And I'm really excited to tell you that the horse was gifted to the town late last year and it was in pretty rough shape, so we decided it would be a great opportunity to refinish the horse, restore it, and install it in our town park. I recruited Brent Chasen, who's also one of our council members, to assist with the painting and designing and restoration. And it's been a really great process because we've learned a lot about the history of these horses, and in all of our historical research, it came to fruition that this would be a great project for the town to preserve a piece of Outer Banks history and highlight this project that occurred 20 years ago in an effort to answer the questions, why are there horses along the Outer Banks, who started the project, and where they remain.
At the time, I was also doing a lot of work for the Kerala Wild Horse Fund and my involvement with the Monument to a Century of Flight. We decided that horses, specifically winged horses, since we were celebrating flight, would be our symbol for a public art project. So we launched the Winged Horse Extravaganza to make this a fundraiser where monies would go to both of those organizations. So all of a sudden we needed fiberglass horses. Where do you get them? Eventually ended up speaking to a man in Buffalo, Minnesota, who was creating fiberglass horses for like feed stores and tack shops. And I said, do you think you could make 25 of them for me? And he went, whoa, yes, I can make 25. So I took out a line of credit on my house and wrote him a check.
You know, at that time, art projects, there were Cows on Parade in Chicago, and the art projects across the country were really becoming popular. And just from my initial talk with Linda, you know, I could tell that she really had a lot of ambition and a lot of passion for the project. So for her to say 100 horses, I guess didn't surprise me. I think the initial order was for 25 statues. I remember Linda talking about the wild horses out in the Outer Banks. The Arabian was a mold that we had, and to create a new statue, the sculpting and molding cost would have exceeded the budget for the project. You know, the project is an art project. And once they get painted up, and you know, I think it just represents the area.
And then I thought I'd better start selling them. So we created a sales packet, and he sent one horse out first, and Mike Kelly from Kelly's Restaurant said, you need to have this in my St. Patrick's Day parade, and that's going to garner some interest in this project. So we put it on a trailer and hauled that horse through the parade and threw candy at everybody from the trailer. And that's what launched our project. Lori London was our very first sponsor. She had a small real estate company at the time. She had that horse painted, and from that moment forward, the project took off. And next thing I knew, there was a delivery of 25 horses, and Charles Hardy, angel of this project, he took delivery of them, made sure that all of our sponsors got them.
I was in the trucking business and warehousing, and so I managed to get an agreement with another company, and they brought them all to us here. We put them in our warehouse, And then as Linda would need one carried somewhere, I would agree to deliver it. Well, I actually had my own real horses, and so I had a truck and a horse trailer. So every time she would sell one, I would put the fake horse in the back of my horse trailer with the head hanging out the back, and I would ride to deliver it. And I would get honks at the stoplights and kids pointing at the horse and laughing. I actually didn't charge her. I just took one horse and we donated that to the Kill Devil Hills Middle School, and they decorated it. And then we had an auction for some of the horses, of which I brought all the horses to the auction place for her.
When someone sponsored a horse, there were two sizes available. The foals often were inside of stores, stallions almost exclusively outside because of their size. A sponsor would buy it, have it decorated, and then they could choose to keep it or donate it for our charitable auction.
I actually bought one at auction just because it was going for a real good deal, and it was one that was done by Jewelry by Gail. And it had a really nice set of a pearl necklace on it. And I thought, well, my wife would like that, so I don't really have a place for a horse. So I bought the horse, gave my wife the pearl necklace, and then donated the horse to the Outer Banks Hospital. And we put a plaque with it was donated by the Hardy family on the horse, so the kids could come in the hospital and see something and enjoy something a little different.
There were a couple of sponsors who donated their horses and then bought them back at auction because they realized it was such a draw for their businesses. And then there were others who just said, we've had our 2-3 years with this horse, it's been great, now it's time to spread the love to someone else. So there were probably 80 different artists who were involved in this. And some teamed up. Glenn Ewer and Don Bryan, Denver Lindley, Currituck Club hired him to decorate their horse. So there were people who were pulled off of what they were known for in the art world, and they dived into this medium of mostly acrylic paint.
About 2 years into the gallery, we had an opportunity to be part of the horse project with Linda. We knew we wanted to do it, and we just sort of had to figure out how to do it. So we went round and round, and we finally decided on mosaic because it would be the longest lasting. We could all do it. You know, it took a little bit of skill, but mostly just process. So when the kickoff happened, it was a big celebration at the Ramada Inn. And we just took it as like this invitation to just party and like be part of our horse. So we had decorated the horse, and his title is Starry, Starry Flight. Over the years, he's just become our beacon, you know, and I know that a lot of the horses that were done for the original were auctioned off, and we just knew we could not auction our precious horse. He was just so part of our whole, you know, essence here. And it certainly is like the thing that everybody mentions when you talk about the co-op.
This is the story of School Spirit, our horse that we had the privilege and joy and honor of painting back in 2002, 2003. And my goal was every child will be involved with this horse. We came up with a plan, have every child draw a picture of school that you like or you love or is important to you. So we had over 700 images, and then from there we picked about 100 images to go on our horse. The older students literally painted the images on the horse. Looking back over the pictures, this could not have been done without the volunteers, but every student in the school touched the horse. And then we had an unveiling ceremony. As an art teacher and as an artist, the painting of the horses and having every single child involved, and they can look back and they have this moment in time, and this point in time, no matter where they are as an adult, that I was involved in something much bigger than myself. I was involved in something that is a work of art that is still standing 20, 21 years later.
Linda Lobby from Outer Banks Press asked me whether I'd help her and do the photography of a lot of the horses. We eventually published 3 small books I'm a nature photographer. I shoot things in nature. If there's a person or an animal in my pictures, it's probably a mistake. But what I do is when I go to a place, I take the record shot, I take the postcard shot, because you have to have that record shot, but that's not what I'm really interested in. Same thing with the horses. I would take, a side shot, I'll take a front shot so you get the head, and then I'd have fun with it. I'd lie down and take pictures looking up at the horse, or just to try to give it some personality. We just had a lot of fun doing it. What it really did was it brought the whole Outer Banks community together, in addition to just celebrating the Wright Brothers, to get together on a public art project. I think what I enjoyed about them is they were all different. They reflected what the owners of the horses wanted to do in terms of art. I mean, some of them were business related and some of them were just art related, and you never know what you're going to find. My favorite horse was actually one that was done by a teenager from Virginia Beach, and he did a wonderful horse and he had a great time doing it. So at the auction I bought it and gave it back to him.
We were past co-directors of the Corolla Wild Horse Fund back in 2000. We had this one stallion that was born on August the 1st, 2001. And when we saw him, we just fell in love with him. And he's believed to be the first paint horse born on the Outer Banks of Corolla in over 30 years.
He was really special. And at 4 months old, there was a shooting and 4 horses and a small mule died. So we searched around and the deputy found Montauk. We let him stay out there and we went up and checked on him every day, and we had the community checking on him up in Corova. And at 10 months old, the stallion, he picked up Montauk and shook him and left him for dead because he felt like he was a threat to his mares and he didn't want him in his herd. We responded down and we packed him in ice in the horse trailer and took him to Suffolk to our veterinarian. So when Linda's project came about, she knew about Montauk and what was going on, and so she went ahead and made this in his image and donated it to the Corolla Wild Horse Fund. All right, this is the sad part. We've had Montauk 23 years, and he just passed away February the 18th.
Okay, this project has really meant a whole lot to us, and this brought a lot of awareness to the people, and then get curious enough to research and go see the horses on the beaches, and knew not to feed them and not to handle them. It was very important for them to have free roam.
We've always had an interest in the winged horses, and when Kirsten was a small child, she was gifted the books, so she's followed them and we've looked for them for a long period of time. And in the last couple of years, we've started a search to try to find as many of them as we can. So Kirsten had the brilliant idea of using Google Maps to locate the horses, and then we mapped out our journey. So I've got pictures of them by themselves and then a picture of her with the horse.
When you're doing a scavenger hunt, you find them more, and they pop up and you can take pictures with them. You know, the ones that have always stayed where they were, okay, those are the first off the list. And then there's a couple that were once in one place and now they're at another place. So those are off the list. And there's an original map that has all of them on it. And I mean, you can follow the map. They're not all there, but it's fun to see what is. Then you'll just find them randomly. Just keep track of what's still out there. They're somewhere.
As I said, we did it as a gift to the Outer Banks, and that gift just kept being paid forward by people who got horses and displayed them in public places, or who hired artists who then brought other artists on board, and it was a really beautiful show of community.
The town is really proud to have 2 winged horse statues on our town campus. We have Polaris, the stallion of the cosmos, which is located right beside NC-12 outside of the town park. And we also have this horse, which will be installed right next to the town amphitheater in our town park. And we really hope that this encourages the community to go out and learn more about these horses and seek them out and enjoy the piece of Outer Banks history for many years to come.